Hi everyone, welcome Veronica. And who are you?
I don't know, I keep forgetting who I am. My name's Jason.
Yeah.
How are you?
Hi. So we're so happy to welcome you all here into this space for our debut Get Your Meditation On. We're going to be doing this monthly just to open up a space for all of us to deepen in meditation. And there'll be an opportunity at the end of the guided meditation, which Jason's going to guide us through today, to ask questions. So hopefully you are watching this on YouTube, not on the Google page. So the link that you were sent. And what we're gonna do, actually, if someone could type into the comments on YouTube that you can hear us, that would be fabulous. That would be great, just so we can make sure. And as we're settling in, just please call in sacred space. Do whatever you need to do to start to drop into
Be here.
Yeah, but first and foremost, your breath, and then anything else that communicates sacred space to you. So I like to light a candle. You know, you can put some flowers, right?
Behind Miss Veronica.
Yes, yes, they're actually all over the place. So these little gestures really help to communicate. Yes, I'm choosing to go inward. I'm choosing to empower my breath and come into the present moment. And as we repeat these little gestures, like lighting a candle, just imagine all of us around the world right now, and later on when this will be watched, that we're all lighting these candles in honor of peace, in honor of presence, in honor of whatever quality it is that you're choosing to empower through this meditation together. And together we're actually symbiotically, synergistically empowering each of our intentions. So there's great power in just lighting that candle. If you don't have anything like a candle or a flower, your presence is all that's needed. And just remember, you are that flame, you are that light. In this space, we get to really empower that. Look at this face. I'm so happy to be sharing this with you guys with Jason. It's just feels so good. And yeah, thank you for blessing us. This man meditates literally 3 hours a day. So this is just a real blessing to come together and share in this space.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah, thank you. So let's see. Yeah, okay, great. Oh, beautiful. Hello, Jason. Janae, hi. Okay, beautiful. And then we have a friend from Tokyo watching on an iPhone. Oh, so sweet to have you here. And anyone else who's not writing in right now, thank you for joining us. It feels great to feel your presence.
It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, and actually as the meditation begins and goes on, if you have questions that arise, feel free to write them into the comments. We're going to look at them after the meditation, but it's helpful to just kind of get those going as they're arising. So why in the world do we want to meditate? Like, you either have a strong meditation practice or you've never meditated before, and we're opening the space to everyone. But really, why would somebody want to meditate?
Well, it's amazing you asked that question. Because my first book is actually called Why Meditate. Did you know that?
Oh my gosh.
It's so amazing.
Oh, this man, the funniest thing is he has written three books on meditation.
4 books, yeah.
Nobody knows. Like, he wrote the books, put them up on his website, never told a soul. I'm like, how are people supposed to know? And he meditates 3 hours a day. I'm like, this is such a gift to give. So can we start getting this message out? So
okay, so I'll pull out the book just because it addresses the perfect question of why we meditate. Yeah. Why would we meditate?
Yeah.
So there's the cover. You might get a nice little peek of that. And then I'll go to the page. So
what is it called?
This is called Why Meditate.
Okay.
Why Meditate. Can you believe that? So I
really wasn't asking the question. That was the title.
Can you believe it though? The person who helped me put this together, her name's Susan, and she was helping me really put all these things together. And she said, make them titles that really speak to exactly what you're speaking of. Mm-hmm. So why meditate is really the first question. Why would we want to meditate?
Yeah.
And I'll just read out a few of the benefits. Besides peace, emotional stability, internal joy, self-esteem boost, self-reliance, greater productivity. There's actually a lot of studies out there that go into exactly the benefits of meditation.
A lot of studies.
Like
they're coming out with
thousands of studies.
I mean, it's just increasing. It's obviously becoming mainstream, which is such good news for all of us. Our world is
waking up.
Pretty much.
It's good. So one company, when they instituted meditation, after 3 years of doing the meditations, having a meditation every day with the employees of a large plant, their absenteeism fell by 85%. Productivity rose 120%.
Yeah.
Injuries dropped 70%, and profits increased 520%.
For meditation.
For meditation.
And so often people ask, like my sister has asked this question, you know, she's like, she sees me when I visit her meditating and I set up sacred space whenever I travel. She's like, doesn't it seem like a waste of time to sit there and do nothing? And it's the best question in the world, because it does look like a waste of time from an outsider's perspective when you're literally sitting there doing absolutely nothing. But being, and the reality is, like, really, what is all these benefits that he's reading? They sound great to the mind, but it's so much deeper than that. It's like we actually get to find our true selves. We actually get to live authentically. We actually get to be free, empowered, free of outer conditions, like to really be oneself in the world, regardless of outer circumstances. I feel like the fast track to being that whole empowered self is having a meditation practice. Hands down. I mean,
this is speaking from our own experiences. And then you have studies like UCLA that says in 2009, they did a study and they discovered that brains of long-term meditators their brains were actually larger and had more gray matter than brains of individuals who did not meditate. So they concluded that this obviously is good for the brain. It reminds me of my dad asking me when I'd walk out of the room one time, and he said, "What do you do when you meditate?" And I said, "Well, you're stilling the mind. You're coming into the breath and being present. And ultimately, at some point, you may come to a place of not thinking." And he pauses. He looks at me and goes, "Aren't we supposed to think?"
Yes.
Well, that's how we're designed.
Yeah.
And there's a place to arrive where we think, but we're no longer identified with our thoughts.
Yeah.
Where there's a separation between the thought and who you truly are.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately, you may be meditating and you never get to arrive to the place where you stop thinking, but there's a space between you and the thoughts. There's actually a recognition that you're not the thoughts, and you have the choice to empower which thoughts that serve you and which ones that don't.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a guide and a master of ours, he has shared with us that different masters and teachers, we all have different dispositions. Every human being does. So even someone in a quote unquote enlightened state, or a state of total self-mastery, mind mastery, he was explaining to us that some of these gurus or masters or enlightened beings, whatever you want to call them, these avatars, some of them are intense and constantly thinking. Like he was talking about Muktananda, and how Muktananda was this intense thinker and constantly like very moving, fiery, you know, whereas another beautiful saint, she's just so still, has not one thought. So the disposition of oneself may never change. One's tendency to think more than another person may not change. But like Jason was saying, yeah, there's that space in between. And rather than trying to get rid of the thoughts, which only makes meditation miserable and actually impossible, it's a matter of just watching. And we're gonna move into that a bit, like how to migrate from this place of getting caught and swept and pushed back and forth by our judgments and thoughts,
into really being here.
Yeah.
Beyond the judgment, beyond the thought.
Yeah.
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 Great.
And when you say beyond the thought, the judgment can still be there, but there's a recognition of it.
You're not identified. So identification with the thought means that you're lost and believing somehow that the thought is you, or that the thought that you're being influenced, or your life is dependent on that thought.
Mm-hmm.
Like your life will be dramatically different or changed or a problem if that thought, wow. Yeah. Now I have a thought that I can't remember what I'm saying, but basically you get identified and there's some sort of knot that happens. There's a belief that if that thought is part of you, then you're either better or worse because of it.
Yes, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah, and we'll just drop all this. We'll save this for questions.
Good idea.
Yeah, let's meditate. So what do we need to meditate?
Well, you need Jason's meditation book. Actually, you don't. You actually take everything off, right? So the first time I chose to meditate, I was calling a friend. I called a dear friend and I said, hey, what's up? And she goes, well, I'm meditating. And I said, really? Why did you can answer the phone while meditating? And she goes, well, I'm still working on that. So the idea is actually to shut off the phone. You're going to have your phone or your computer on, whatever you're connecting in with us, but you're letting go of all the other communications, the emails, everything else.
Yeah.
So you can fully be here.
Yes.
You have your candle, you may have a little light music behind, but as many distractions, we want to limit those so it's that much easier to arrive here. You can have the chaos going on and still be able to be in that state, but it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, and before we dive into the meditation, it's coming up to share with you that if you're feeling really stressed right now, or if you're in a very challenged place, or you feel physical pain in your body, something that is, making it really hard to feel, or you're caught in fear, and it's hard to feel peace and centered, please welcome all of that into this space. This space does not exclude any part of the emotional body. It doesn't exclude any of the challenges you may be having. It's not about being perfect. Actually, what I found on my journey is just in including every facet of who you are and actually coming into a healthy relationship with every feeling that you feel and those shabib days, those just terrible days.
Shebang. Okay.
Shitty days, basically. I'm trying to be proper here. I'm not like.
I thought that was a new Valley Girl saying.
No. So it's really whatever you're feeling right now, please bring it on. Just welcome it into this space and know that this space is here to hold you and the entire you, whatever that looks like today, because it changes. Every day changes if you haven't noticed. Different feelings, different experiences. Everything comes and goes, and what we're coming into together is the changeless state, the true self, what I call the diamond self, that place that is eternal, infinite, and it's actually where namaste comes from. The light within me sees the light within you. So can we create this space together where we're empowering that absolutely changeless, true self, and accept everything else that arises.
Cool. Great. So should we meditate?
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
So you just get into a position that you feel comfortable. It can be lying down, sitting up. You can be in any position you'd like. Being present does not require you being perfect. You don't have to be in the perfect sitting position. You don't have to be doing anything except being committed to being here. So for this meditation, you'll be being guided by my voice. And the key is just to start to drop in. So we're going to eventually close our eyes. And first, you're just coming into your breath, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And you're just simply breathing into the body. And you're just noticing anything that's holding any resistance, any clenching in the eyes, the face, the jaw, the hands. You're letting that go. And you're actually breathing. You're here. And you begin to just simply connect to the breath in the belly. So you're first noticing if your breath is originating up in the chest and the throat. And can you start to just drop it down a little deeper, using the diaphragm to breathe into the belly? And you're letting go of any agendas. There's nothing to get, nothing to give. There's nothing to get right or to be wrong by. You're just simply here. The thoughts come in and they can pass by. If you take a ride on that thought, you catch it at some point and you come back to here. And first, the presence just originates with the breath. You're just breathing in through the nose, either out through the nose or out through the mouth. And then you're recognizing you're feeling what you feel. The thoughts may arise, and they can go by without you having to go with them. And now you're just, again, just dropping a little further into the belly, a little deeper into the moment. And your intention is to be here. And you're letting go of any judgments of when you're not fully here. And we're simply going to just travel through this amazing body of ours. And we just start with breathing at the feet. You're breathing into the toes with awareness. Not having to do anything, but breathe into them with your mind's eye. You're breathing into the feet. You're just surrounding the entire foot with love, with light. And you're rising your awareness to your ankles, and from insides to outs, and everything in between. You're just breathing into those spaces with awareness. And you continue with the breath up through the calves, through the back sides of that lower part of the leg, breathing into the calves, acknowledging the hair to the skin, to the tissue, to the muscles, the tendons, the ligaments, the bones, moving forward all the way to the fronts of the shins. Just surrounding that whole bottom part of the leg with breath, with appreciation. And when the exhale comes, it comes. You just let it go, let it out. And you rise your awareness into the knees. Just surrounding the knees from inside to out. With love, with light, with presence. And whatever you feel without judgment as much as you can in this moment. And you rise up the backs of the legs, from the back of the knee up to the beginning of the buttocks, the hamstrings, the IT bands, all of those muscles inside, acknowledging from the outside to in, from the bone going forward to the fronts of the thighs, the quads, etc. We're just breathing into that whole upper part of the leg on both sides. Acknowledging the legs for all that they do, without creating a story. Nowhere to go but being here with the legs. Then you just continue to rise your awareness up into the hips, the groin, the buttocks, the excretory organs, the sexual organs, acknowledging that whole area of sacredness with your breath, being with this area in this moment. Embracing this entire area as it is. Nothing having to change. And you're breathing from the tailbone. You're breathing the tailbone and you're just taking a breath of golden light all the way up the spine to where it arrives at the skull. And then you drop back down to the tailbone and you just start to slowly rise and bring your awareness from the tailbone, the coccyx, the whole sacrum. You're just gently moving up from that area into the low back, the area of the spine and the muscles along the sides. You're just breathing into the low back with presence in this moment. Nothing having to change the way it is right now. You're continuing to breathe up the low back into the upper part of the low back, which is where the kidneys arrive as well, just tucked underneath the ribs. You're breathing into the spine, the kidneys, the upper part of the low back. And just surrounding now that area and the whole lower back with love. And you start to infiltrate inside. You're moving through the tissue, the cells, all the way through the back to the front, which is now the belly, the intestines, the navel. And you're breathing into that apparatus, the diaphragm, filling your cavity of the belly, full of breath. You can actually physically feel the breath here. So actually feel the breath move into this area with love and awareness. And if the mind wanders, you just gently notice and you return to the breath here in the belly. And you're rising to the upper part of the belly where the stomach is. And also the yin organ starting from the right side. Underneath the ribs is the liver. Move to the upper right side underneath the ribs is the gallbladder. To the upper left side is the pancreas. To the far left side under the ribs is the spleen. And you're just breathing into that whole area with gratitude. Nothing having to change, having to be your way, just simply breathing with acceptance with what is. You're noticing any holding in the body and the breath and the mind. And you're just breathing into that as well. Using the exhale to drop the agenda. Now that we're here, we're just acknowledging now the entire rib cage. Moving from the rib cage through all those ribs into the lungs, which are inside of the ribs. Breathing into the lungs with white light. And then into the breasts, the chest, acknowledging that whole upper area, the collarbone. Moving inside to the heart. Breathing into these spaces without rushing. Just simply being. And while you're breathing, if you need to make adjustments, you make adjustments. You don't force yourself into a still position. You adjust when you need to so you can fully be here with the entire upper part of the body. And you just slowly infiltrate through from the heart, out from the heart to the upper back, the shoulder blades, the rhomboids, the muscles underneath the shoulder blades, the lats that ride along the sides, that whole upper part of the back. Whether you know the mapping or not, you know where the upper back is, the spine there. You're breathing into all of that area. And you're feeling the sensations. Maybe there's a oneness or a cleanness. You're bringing that in, acknowledging what is here right now. And then from the upper back into the shoulders. Sometimes you may not actually feel a body part, but your mind's eye can go to where the shoulders are. So you feel the shoulders, you breathe into the shoulders. And then it's like a waterfall rolling down from the shoulders through the arms, the bicep, the tricep, through the elbows to the forearms, all the way through the wrists, the hands, and the fingertips, just filling them with breath and light. Love and appreciation, acknowledgement for all that they do for you. And you might even wiggle the fingers a little bit, just acknowledging their beautiful presence and contribution to you in your experience. And like a fountain shooting up, you gently rise. So rather than shooting up, it just rises and bubbles up from the waterfall. Then you bubble that water back up the arms, all the way to the shoulders, through the shoulders to the neck. The Adam's apple, the throat chakra, moving through the neck, to the back of the neck and the spine. The cervical spine, breathing into each of those vertebrae. Knowing that there's 7, but maybe not knowing exactly where they reside. You're breathing into the neck. You're being with the neck. You might even adjust the head a little bit. And you breathe here with presence, awareness. Nothing to get, nothing to give, but be. And then from the neck, you just simply rise into the head, the face, the brain, all the features of the face. You're going through each part, the mouth, the teeth, the jaw, the tongue, breathing into all of these beautiful spaces through to the nose and the eyes and the ears. Taking your time, acknowledging each one. It's like you're giving each part of the face, the brain, the skull, a little hug. A hug of awareness. And then acknowledging the skin, the hair. And just gratitude for this being that is you. And from the head, we drop our awareness all the way back down to the toes. And from the toes, you acknowledge the toes first, and then you simply just take a breath from the toes of golden light. You inhale golden light up from the toes all the way up through to the crown of the head. When you arrive at the top, you hold the breath. You take in a little bit more breath. It's like you're expanding beyond the body into your field, into your auric field. You take in another little bit of breath, hold. And then you exhale out through the mouth. You let it all go. And you do that from the fingertips. Golden light up through the fingertips, through the arms, to the top of the head. You hold the breath at the top. You take in a little bit more. You're expanding beyond your body into the body whole. A little bit more and hold. And then you exhale everything out and you let it go. And then if there's some place in the body you'd like to spend just a few more moments, another minute or so breathing into, some place in the body that's asking for a little bit more attention. You just take your mind's eye back to that space. No agenda to change anything, but just really like loving a little child. The little child may be cranky or crying, but does your love change because the child is cranky or crying? Can you fully be with this part of the body, whether it's exuberant or sad, and just be present, lovingly present with this part of the body, nothing having to change. Breathing into this space, just for the sake of being with it. You might notice a gentle shift that's happening, but nothing has to happen. Nothing is right or wrong if it does or doesn't. You're just breathing into the space. And you'll be in silence for a little bit with the breath. Even though you may be moving your awareness someplace else, there's an acknowledgement and awareness that remains here with whatever part of the body that you've been with. You're just breathing into it with gratitude, thanking it for all that it does, even if it's not perfect. For it is perfect in its imperfection or its perfection. Thanking it for all that it does for you. And then you just surround that gratitude around your entire body, just thanking this body for supporting you in this experience called life. And you may just even expand that gratitude remaining in you, but you can expand the gratitude beyond you to everything around you. All the beings, the things, everything that is in your life, in this world. For everything is here with a purpose, whether you like it or not. And you thank it now for being part of your experience. And inside, if you have somebody next to you, whether they're in the room or not, just give them an internal thank you. Thank you for being you. And in this moment, there's nothing that needs to be changed. Within me, within you, within all. And from this place of presence, you are divinely perfect. You are healthy. You're more than healthy, you are health. You are love. You are peace. There's nothing to get out there, it's all in here. So you just breathe into the beauty of you. And there's an awareness that remains inside, but you can start to come back outside as well, maintaining what you created, the space, the presence you created inside, now can come out into the world. There's not a rushing, there's not a jolting, it's just a natural progression. Being here in the world. And if you traverse that through with us, you may have noticed a little shift or a change. It doesn't have to happen, it just may happen. And then you can be here with us. You can be here with you. You can be here with the body, even when the body is going through things. You can be with it. Thank you. So you may have some questions down below for us, and we'll be happy to thumb through those and answer what we can today. It would be nice if we finished by just finding a little music and people can just sit in the present for 5 if they'd like.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, so as you're coming back into the space, even with your eyes open, like Jason was saying, notice how you can keep that inner stillness while focusing. What I find really helpful is to focus on one point when opening the eyes. In yoga, it's called a dristi, a focal point. So that transition from coming out of a deep, deep inner state into engaging and interacting with all the stimuli of the world, I find it really helpful, a bridge point to be that dristi. So to focus my gaze on something really easy to look at and to keep my eyes still, so perhaps a flower. And stay with the breath and then transition into doing, into engaging, into even typing questions if you'd like, from that state of breath, rather than, you know, to carry that meditation and presence through is the ideal, right? It's the ultimate. And I want to just reflect something that Jason said. It was so beautiful. Thank you. And when you said it a couple of times, nothing to get, nothing to give, just be. And for some reason that just landed powerfully for many of us givers and leaders. I know so many of you watching this, you give a lot in your life. So to come into the space of not trying to get anything, not needing to give anything, just being, just being. Thank you for that reminder. I wrote it down and circled it. All right. So if you have questions, please write them in the
question box.
Yes. Let's see.
That's an interesting comment.
Yeah.
Your feet are divine.
Thank you, Jaguar 7, for wanting to lick the bottom of my feet. I appreciate that. Okay. Okay, so we don't see questions, but they typically take a little bit to register. So if you have any specific questions to meditation, or if you had a specific problem or issue while meditating, or maybe you didn't feel anything, or you were thinking, or just any questions, please feel free. Otherwise, we'll just jump into music and continuing the meditation. If you're in a deep meditation, you can just hit, X out of this or hit mute, and you can always watch the Q&A later. Just use the space to deepen. Typically, it takes about 20-25 minutes to really drop into a state of meditation, especially when you're active in the world and engaging a lot in the world. It takes time. It's almost like taking a soul shower, or taking a spirit shower, and it takes time. And then once you click in, that's when it's really nice to continue on with the meditation. So I always feel like 25-30 minutes is ideal, essential really, to meditate daily.
But don't let that stop you from doing just like 5 minutes or 3 minutes.
Or even a minute, yeah.
A minute, because I started my meditation with 5 minutes a day. And I just committed to 5 minutes a day. It was something doable, achievable, and repeatable. So I was able to do that every day. And then the meditation naturally built. And my life started to shift and transform with meditation as a centerpiece. So whatever you can commit to, achievable, doable, repeatable, then do that and let it build. Don't force and push. Yeah.
And Dee Flynstering, you're welcome. You just wrote a beautiful comment. Thank you for creating the space. Much love. A lot of love to you. And thank you for joining us in this space. It really, us gathering together virtually, globally, there are people, we're from all different parts of the world, and then people who will be tuning in later. We are creating an impact and sending out a ripple of positive, meditative, peaceful, loving energy. And it requires you, me, Jason, all of us to gather together and create that power. There's so much evidence that when people meditate together, especially locally, but I believe that virtually it's the same thing. If you study quantum physics, it's an exponential, it's not just 2 or 3 or 10 or 100 or 5,000 people gathering. It's actually exponentially larger than that number of people. Yeah.
So we'll let you put your own music on today. Next time we'll come back and we'll put a tune on at the end, since we didn't have that prepared today. But just one final note, thank you. It's an honor to be with you. It's an honor to share a little bit of what's really been such an integral part of our lives, and it has really helped transform who we are as people, as beings, as not just happy beings, but present, conscious, authentic beings. Yeah. And I'm grateful for that.
And being happy all the time is not the goal. It's not like we're happy all the time. I'd never want someone to think that, because that would be a really big disservice to anyone. And by the way, your questions are coming in. We'll answer a couple of them. So the goal isn't to get rid of, just to be happy and perfect all the time. Yes.
It isn't.
It isn't.
I'm so trying to perfect everything. I want to look prettier. I want to be pretty. I'm going to be the most perfect meditator in the world.
You're so pretty. And look, even Jason, Healthy Body, Mind, Soul, who I love dearly, says 3 hours a day. Phenomenal, Jason. Yes.
Oh, that's why I do it. I wanted your approval, Jason. The Healthy Body, Mind, Soul. I wanted your approval. That's what I'm trying to do. It's not about the 3 hours. It's really about the quality. One of our teachers, Sri Shankaracharya, his guru said 15 minutes of quality meditation is far better than 3 hours of meditation. So,
and consistency.
Yeah, consistency is the key. You can meditate for 3, 8, 10, 12 hours for one day a week, and 15 minutes a day is going to take you on a journey much deeper than that 15 hours in one day.
Yeah. And we're seeing your question as well, Jason. So he's saying, how would you say your life and daily experience has changed, even in small ways, since you began meditating? You kind of answered that. And also, has your meditation practice experience strengthened, oh yeah, baby, over time?
Well, I started with 5 minutes a day. At one point, I went to 8 hours a day, which actually wasn't the same quality as what I do now. You know, I do a fair amount of meditation now, but it's a deeper level of it, and really what it's about is consistency. Yeah. It's doing it every day, and having a guide really helps. Somebody to check, and it's not just about meditation, then it's also all the things that we're doing in the world, so it applies into the world. And what we're doing out in the world can actually take from our meditation. So what we're attempting to do with meditation, and over time, is what happens is life and meditation merge into one. Rather than life and ego merge into one and we get lost in it all, it's life and meditation, and it's peace. There is a peace. Doesn't mean that everything's perfect. But what has happened in meditation is there's an acceptance of what is.
Yes.
And then that is perfect. And there is peace in that. There still may be chaos happening. I have plenty of crazy things going on in my life right now. And yet there just is an acceptance of what is. So peace can still be here.
Yeah.
It's not out there, it's here. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. And I think, it's beautiful. The word acceptance is very powerful. I feel like the way meditation has changed my life is I'm very sensitive, highly sensitive being. So I used to go out into the world and everything was so painful. Everything would just affect me. I would take on other people's stuff constantly. And it still happens from time to time. It actually just recently happened to me. But what happens is I get into meditation and it's automatic. It's very quick within meditation. It's like plugging in, and that stuff just washes off. I don't know how else to, what other kind of metaphor to use other than it's like showering. So I can't go to bed at night without showering. Some people shower in the morning, or I can't not wash my hands several times a day. Now it's to the point where meditation is just a habit. My body moves to the cushion. Having the same sacred space is really helpful. like Joseph Campbell said, my sacred space is where I can, or your sacred space, he says, is where you can find yourself again and again and again. So the way it has changed my life is that I just return home. So many of us feel lost. I know I felt lost for a long time, if you guys know my story. And meditation is my, it's like my key that leads me to home. And then going out into the world, it's a lot easier now to just hold that state, and there's no need to take on other people's stuff. Yeah. And
when you do, you do. It's everything that happens, there's just an acceptance. Of it. That's what unfolds.
Yes. Yeah.
Anybody else?
And Janae, that's beautiful to hear. So the meditation was very relaxing, and it allowed her to be present with her back. Lots of healing light to your back. Do you have any suggestions for lower back pain?
That could be a whole session in itself.
Because he's a yoga teacher as well. So.
Simply with low back pain, body mind.
Janae, is it lower? Also, feel free to write in if it's lower. I think it might be lumbar.
Let me see.
Lower back pain.
Lower back pain. So lower back pain in body-mind mechanics typically. Now this is a generality, so it's really important to tap into your own back and really check in to see if this is your story, but it's support. Am I getting enough support? Am I feeling supported, and am I over-supporting others? Am I carrying the weight of others or carrying the weight of life too much? Yeah. So low back, it also can move in, support can move into feeling emotionally supported, financially supported. So money issues often come into low back. Family issues can be there as well, etc. More from a physical aspect, digestion. If your digestion is out of alignment, especially your large intestine, your low back will be out of alignment. So any constriction in the large intestine will constrict in the back.
A lot of people don't know that too. It's
most people don't. I've never heard it from a doctor. I didn't learn it until I had a motorcycle accident, and then I had to break my pelvis and hip to learn that I had digestive troubles causing all my low back pain. So addressing your digestion is going to be addressing all your low back pain. Addressing your small intestine is going to address your middle back pain. And that is that. That's enough. There's other things that we could go into a whole workshop on.
Yeah. Great. Okay, let's see if there are any more. Okay. Thank you for this wonderful video. Can you give some tips on how to stay with intense emotions such as anger, shame, embarrassment, etc. when the temptation to distract yourself is so strong? It's a really good question. So the main thing I would say is that there's a belief in our culture that we have to repress our feelings. And I love your question because you're saying, how can I stay with the feeling? So the key for me, and if you guys know the diamond process, like I'm loving that people are digging it, and it's all about working through the emotional stuff. So because that's really what keeps us out of meditation, keeps us out of presence, is typically body pain or emotional pain, some kind of pain that we're trying to get away from. So the repressed emotions in the body just need to come out. So it's about coming up with a constructive way to express them. And I have found that the best way to release those emotions is to actually exaggerate them at first. If you feel anger, to actually never obviously dump the anger on somebody. Even if Jason were to trigger me and I feel angry, the tendency in relationship is to try to dump it on the other person. That is not helpful for anyone. So the key is in meditation, in your sacred space. My teacher, Leonard Jacobson, I love this. He calls it an anger meditation. And it's literally let it freaking rip. Let the anger speak, and let it speak as if the person, they're not really there, but as if the person's right in front of you, and let it rip. Now this takes mastery. Sometimes pain or grief is easier for some people, or fear might be easier than anger, because we've been taught that anger is crazy. We've been taught that anger is like totally shameful and to get rid of it. So the mind is programmed to repress it. So there's a lot of the mastery of the mind is really important, to notice when your mind is saying, oh my God, I must be crazy that this anger is coming out of me. That's the real problem. Notice if you let the anger or the fear or the pain come out full on for like 5 minutes or however long it takes. In meditation, just pray it out or speak it out, or imagine a person in front of you and dialogue it, let it out. Say what you really want to say. Okay, so it's like let it rip. Speak the unspeakable. Give yourself permission. It's not even you. Give the anger permission or the feeling permission to express and complete its journey through you. So you may notice, just as an experiment, when you let it flow through you and let it out, then come back into meditation and track, how do I feel in my body, and notice what thoughts arise. And if any thoughts come around like, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that, there's something wrong with me, just write it down. That's the judgment that's really limiting your ability to be peaceful and present. So it's a matter of really clearing those blocks. It's a lot deeper work. It's not something we can just do in this video. But for that, I'd suggest for sure the Diamond Process book, which you can find on Amazon, or Leonard Jacobson's work, Jason's work. There are many teachers, or even going, working through with a trusted ally, even a therapist, a conscious therapist. There are many options, but the key is to let it out, whether free-form writing or out loud. Give yourself permission to let those emotions voice.
Yeah, it's just noticing if there's any judgment or restriction. Emotion is meant to be expressed and let go of. The Dalai Lama, a friend of a friend, spent some time with the Dalai Lama, and he said there was a news story that came up about China killing a lot of the Tibetans in this massacre. This was several years ago. And the Dalai Lama saw this tragedy, and tears came to his eyes. He cried. And then he completed his experience of that sadness, and then he continued on. It was the moment he experienced it, and then he was back at peace. And it wasn't that he wasn't at peace during it. He was just experiencing the emotion, and it expressed itself. There was no holding, no resistance, no shame, and the expression was there.
Yeah.
And then it continued on. It's not that the next moment there wasn't the experience of that and that it wasn't a shame. It's just that he already experienced it. He was complete with that. So now he's here. Mm-hmm. So now in this moment, that story's gone and I'm with you. Mm-hmm. Somebody may have died and I experienced the emotion and then I'm here. And right now, do I have...
You have all this yellow stuff on your shirt.
Oh, yeah, I took off my sweatshirt. I was all good until that. Yeah, it's a new shirt, and then I think I put turmeric or something on it. So there you go. So in this moment, you can stare at my turmeric shirt.
I'm present. You probably can't see it, but I got really present with that. He's making such a good point. One of the big game changers, life changers with meditation is notice how the mind gets stuck on a story about what happened 2 minutes ago or what's going to happen tomorrow. And instead, just catch it. I'm caught in something that's not even real anymore. It doesn't even exist. It's gone. Now I bring my attention to what's really here, to this mug, to my breath, to you, to this computer, to what's here, tangible. So really good. So
we've committed to keeping this at maximum an hour. Mm-hmm. So we're here. Yes. We're at that point. So maybe we just move back from the head, back into the heart, back into the breath. And then the idea and the intention is doing this for even 30 seconds several times a day is just being present with something. So you have, like Veronica was speaking of, the shower before you move into the next thing. So you're in a cab or you're in your car, and before you go into that appointment, just come present with something so you're not carrying the chaos of arriving to your appointment into the appointment. Mm-hmm. So from here, we've been in a nice sanctuary, but then you're going to be moving out there someplace. So before leaving here, just come in, and then you move from that pause, from that space. And then the space, the presence is informing that next thing that you're doing. Mm-hmm. So you're being through the doing. So you just drop in, eyes closed or eyes open, present with something. And you just take a few breaths. And you just see and feel yourself calibrating here. And it's as simple as that. You are now here, and you can either choose to stay here or you can choose to move from here. So either way, namaste. Many blessings to you.
Many blessings.
We will send out a note about when it is next month, but approximately a month from now, we'll be doing another one of these.
Yeah, go to Jason C. Frahm, FRAHM.com to get informed, because we're actually going to move this to his channel next month. And you can also, to get the True Peace CD, it's a meditation CD for free. You can go to my website at veronicakrestow.com. It's KRESTOW. Right.
Yeah, they can get that, and I haven't set it up on my website, but if you just send me a note from my website, jasoncfrom.com, I'll send you the first book that I pulled out today that just is giving you
It's amazing, like amazing.
The first one is just really just walking you through why you would want to meditate, and then the next 3 are guidance into meditation, how to deepen what the groundwork and beyond.
He's the go-to meditation man. That's how I think of it.
We're here.
We're here. We love you guys. Have a beautiful weekend, and we'll see you next month. Mwah.
Many blessings, Jai Ma. Namaste.
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 Namaste.